I was never in this to make millions. I was in this to see my kids before they move out. I'm in this to get time back, hopefully soon, with them. I'm in this to not wonder how to pay my bills. I'm in this to know how to keep a marriage. What got me to get brave enough to start my own business and take that leap was realizing that nobody was coming to save me. And I think that that's a big message that I would like to put out to any person considering business is, are you waiting for it to get better, or are you willing to take charge and make it better for yourself? So a lot of times they'll jump right from school into teaching, and they think that now that because they've gone through the education, they can now be an expert in teaching. And the two problems I see with that are, A, did you go to any education about how to be a good teacher? You may not be very good at delivering a message to students, even though you know how to do your job really well. B, have you had any real life experience?
You can either have your family and your friends, but you're not going to have a business. You can either have business and friends, but you're not going to have a family, or you can have business and family, and you're not going to have any friends.
Think about if I should legally share what I'm about to share.
We'll cut it out if you can't, but we'll figure it out. Dr. Brady, welcome to My Elevated Mindset Business Edition. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You are welcome. I'm glad you're here. So let's start off with, a lot of people struggle with taking the leap from working a job to going into their business, right? And I know that you have gone through the degree route. You're a doctor, obviously, which is very impressive. Where was that moment that took you from your job to actually starting a business in the field you are today?
Yeah, so before we answer that question, I want to give a little bit of background about what it is I do.
Okay.
So I'm an athletic trainer, and a lot of times when I put that title out into the world, they think I am the personal trainer at the gym that gets you strong. And while I do a little of that, my degree is actually in injuries. I work with sports injuries. I diagnose those, I rehab those. And we're usually at a high school or a university working with athletes. Sometimes we enter like orthopedic offices with surgeons and sports med clinics. So that's originally what I set out to do. I actually am one of the few people probably you'll have on the podcast who says I actually never wanted to be a business owner ever in my life.
Interesting.
That's a very stressful thing for me to think that the success of my livelihood hinges 100% on me. So this might be an interesting
I love it already. That's
for
juicy.
you
Okay.
about how to get someone like me to go into business.
For sure.
So in my field, we started around the 40s and the 50s and the 60s, right after World War II, when sports started ramping up again and we started having college teams needing care. Okay. And so where the rest of the medical world went and dealt with insurance, we had a college or a high school giving us a college or a high school salary, but to do medical things.
Oh, that is
So we are one of the lowest paid medical professions in the world.
Wow.
We average now with a master's degree in sports medicine, we average $50,000 to $55,000 a year.
Wow. Still. That's an entry-level position.
I just saw posts on Facebook on our business page for our athletic training profession listing a college up in Idaho in Pocatello was listing a athletic training position for $49,000 for the year.
Goodness.
So that's why I went into business. I'm a PhD. I have a doctorate. And I was in PhD school thinking that that would help get me more money. And it really doesn't.
Okay.
And all of the professionals from around the country are our faculty and our teachers. We had teachers from all around the country that are the leaders in my profession. They had us take a class on how to save the profession from people leaving it, from the burnout, how to make more money in the profession. And none of the experts had any ideas for how to actually make that happen.
So they did
And that
everything but
was-
offer more money.
Yes.
Yeah.
So everyone is, in theory, trying to brainstorm across the country for how to help athletic trainers survive staying in their own profession. We're leaving it at a high rate. We have a lot of burnout. Usually everyone is single or divorced, or if they happen to have kids, they don't know their kids. They don't have a relationship with their kids. They're working anywhere from 55 to 70 hours a week. I mean, what are you doing on Thanksgiving Day?
Yeah.
Are you watching a football
I'm
game?
watching football, chilling with my family.
I'm working the football game.
Yeah.
You know? So it's nights, it's weekends, so say the coach is going to have a 5 a.m. practice because he doesn't like that you guys lost the game and he wants to make the team run sprints and work harder, and I get to be there at 4:30 to make sure that everybody's taped and ready to go.
Wow.
Or the team is now doing better in the season than they thought, and we go to the March Madness tournament. I now have 3 more weeks worth of work instead of taking a break.
Then you don't get a bonus or paid extra or anything.
Usually no.
It's the same thing.
It's usually the same. So what got me to get brave enough to start my own business and take that leap was realizing that nobody was coming to save me. And I think that that's a big message that I would like to put out to any person considering business is, are you waiting for it to get better, or are you willing to take charge and make it better for yourself? And going into business allows you to be the boss instead of waiting for someone to come save you.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. There's a lot of things that I want to unpack with what you're talking about with your job. And so is it necessary for you to get the PhD and go through all that in order to have your business that you have today?
My PhD doesn't give me any ability to own a business or not. I have to have a master's degree in order to bare minimum do what I'm doing. The reason I personally chose the PhD is I have a passion for teaching. And I had some teachers along the way who would try to teach me things in the classroom that didn't really apply to real life. I think that happens probably in any degree, but some of my college professors hadn't worked on an actual athlete or an actual patient since they were in college. So not only did I want to be able to teach, I also wanted to practice at the same time.
Yeah.
And so one of my goals is to eventually build my business up well enough to where I can show other students a different way to do athletic training that will hopefully help them be able to stay in the profession long term, have a family, have kids, and not worry about how to pay the bills.
Yeah, that's awesome. And people, honestly, us as humans need more people like that in the world, because when you get an MBA, or you go to a school like a college or something, most of the professors that are teaching the entrepreneurial classes or that are teaching the MBA classes, they actually don't have their own business, right?
Yes. So a lot of times they'll jump right from school into teaching. And they think that now that because they've gone through the education, they can now be an expert in teaching. And the 2 problems I see with that are, A, did you go to any education about how to be a good teacher? You may not be very good at delivering a message to students, even though you know how to do your job really well.
Right.
B, have you had any real life experience?
Yeah, that's the big one. The real life experience is huge. And I think you learn more through just starting and going through all the hoops that you have to go through to start your own business than actually listening to somebody do it.
Yeah.
Right? Even if you've only been doing it for a short time. So one of the things that I want to backtrack on is you were saying you never wanted to be a business owner.
Correct.
Okay. And so you wanted to have a job where you had the 401k and you had the insurance and everything like that, have a steady paycheck. And the reason that you didn't want to have a job is because it's scary?
Correct.
Okay. So let's break that down a little bit. Why is it scary?
So I went from working with high schools and universities where the only way my job is going to disappear is you wipe out hundreds of athletes and the entire athletic program.
True.
I can't sink that ship by myself.
Sure.
I went to working at the hospital hoping that I would make maybe a little bit more money, or maybe work a few less hours.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out in that scenario, I was just on call to the surgeon the entire time, and I didn't get paid for my overtime. So
Wow.
different scenario, still struggling with an athletic training. But in that situation, I'm working for a regional hospital. We've got hospitals all across the Western United States. I'm not going to do anything to sink that ship either.
True.
If I go start my own business with athletic training, and I'm a business starting off as one, as a lot of these businesses are, or you're the boss of a small team, now I can sink that ship all by myself.
Sure.
And as you've probably learned with your business, I don't clock out at 5 p.m. and let the boss handle it.
Right.
I am now on call fixing every fire that's ever going to happen 24/7. So now when I own the business, I don't clock out. I feel like it's really hard to get me to check out at this point from work.
Sure. I get that. And I want to play devil's advocate a little bit with you because at this point we think completely opposite, right? And other entrepreneurs out there, right, will probably agree with me on this. And then there's other people who are completely agreeing with you, which is wild, right? Because those who are on my side are like, I don't understand what she just said, right? But one of the things that's crazy is that I see your stable job that you said couldn't go anywhere. Someone could come in and fire you like that, right? And so even though the job is not going away, your livelihood is not in your own destiny. It's not in your own hands,
Sure.
right? Someone can walk in and say, Shay, I don't think you're the right fit for this job anymore. You're not the right personality. You're not really handling the people right. We're going to let you go. Here's a severance package, right? With the business, as an entrepreneur, the way that I see it is that your business can only fail if you give up, right?
I like it.
And so if Shay wants to work 20 hours a day, 14 hours a day, right? Just something crazy. And she never wants to give up and she always wants to keep trying. Your business is never going to fail, right? But then that brings us to your point of who the hell wants to work 14, 15, 16 hours a day?
Correct.
Right? I need to clock out somewhere. And that's I think where the beauty of an experienced entrepreneur is that you have to learn these certain skills of being able to go, okay, when I'm with my business, I'm with my business 110%, right? When I'm with my family, I'm with my family 110%, right? When I'm at church or when I'm at a sporting event or wherever it is, wherever you are at, that is where your attention is at, right? And I speak from experience because when I started my logistics business, right, I was working 16 to 18-hour days. And when I went home, I was still working because people were texting me. After 2 years of that, my wife goes, I don't know, do we have a relationship anymore? And I'm like, no, I don't think so. And she goes, you're kind of a zombie. Like you need to figure this out or we're not going to have a marriage anymore, right?
Right.
And so then that's when I had to go, how can I still grow this business but still have work-life balance?
Sure.
Right? And I actually, work-life balance is one of those terms that I actually kind of hate because a lot of people in today's age, they want to start with work-life balance. And that's not how life works,
Correct.
right? You have to earn work-life balance. Go through hell for 2 to 3 years building the business to create the work-life balance, and then you're going to have more freedom with a business than you would with a job.
Correct. I had also seen a lot of new psychology coming out. We went through a couple of decades of self-help books about work-life balance, and we're actually starting to say that actually doesn't exist. And there's some new psychology out there that's saying you can only shine your light in one direction. So if I'm over here working on my business, I will be casting a shadow on my friends, on my family, on my kids, on my relationship.
Yes.
And there is no way to have one foot here and one foot here.
Right.
But what we can do is we can make sure we're as productive as possible when we're shining our light on the business.
Yes.
And we have to trust that because we worked so hard for 12 hours a day over here that we do need to turn our back to the business. We need to shine our light over here to things that will be there when we retire, or things that will be there by our bedside when we die. And that is your wife or your husband, your kids, your friends, and things that are actually going to fuel your soul.
Things that matter.
Things that matter.
Yeah, 100%. I saw something a long time ago. I think I was on LinkedIn. This was years ago. Let's see if I can remember it. But what it was is it said there's family, there's friends, and there's your business. Okay? You can't have all three at once. You have to pick two. You can either have your family and your friends, but you're not going to have a business. You can either have business and friends, but you're not going to have a family, or you can have business and family, and you're not going to have any friends. And as I've gone through my years as a business owner, I chose my business and I chose family. I don't have any friends. I know people, right? I know a ton of people. And we talk, we get along, and they're there, and I can text them. But do I really have any friends, right? And so what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that that's true, or do you think you can somehow have all three?
Well, my fiance laughs because I will bring people home from dinner that are my patients. And he's like, isn't that a little weird? But my friends are now my patients. In fact, that's actually how you and I met, is you were one of the people that I worked on. And I think often I wish I had more time for friends. And it is a real challenge that I struggle with to now find the energy and the time for friends. But I do find that I find them through the people that I treat and care for. I find them through other business owners like myself in my surroundings, which, what a better place to find friends. They say that you are the equivalent of the 5 people you hang out with.
Yep.
So I'm okay with the fact that now 2 of my best friends, they invested in my company, and then I've actually hired one of them to work for me, and those are my best friends. We
That's
hang out
awesome.
with them all the time. Another pair of my best friends I met on my treatment table, husband and wife, and now I am best friends with them. And so some of my time spending with friends is treating people. It's like the hour that you came for their massage or their physical therapy. Unfortunately, that's friend time for us.
Yeah, that's fun. And me and Shay have had a lot of good tables as I'm face down on the table and she's just putting needles in my back trying to fix things. But it's before I go to the next question, Shay is one of the best people you will ever go to if you have any sort of pain in your back. I have upper back pain and I have sciatic nerve pain like crazy. And I've been to a ton of people, and she's the first one that told me people are focusing on the wrong area. They need to focus on X, Y, and Z area, such as your calves or your neck, in order to cure your sciatic nerve. And so if you have back pain, if you have any sort of pain, right, she's a doctor. She knows what she's doing. It's not just some masseuse, right? And she will 100% stick needles into you, and you will love every second of it. Right. And so her business is called The Body Mechanic, and it's here in Lehi, Utah. So if you're local in Utah, look up The Body Mechanic. Shay is the one to go to, and your pain will be gone. Right.
Thank you.
100%. So going back to the question, how is your business different from your job that you had as an athletic trainer? That's right. Yeah.
So when I'm an athletic trainer, I'm at every sporting practice. I'm usually there before practice in time to get everybody treated, taped, stretched, ready to go. I'm at every practice, and oftentimes, even at a university, we're usually covering multiple sites. So we're like running around to the basketball field or the football field or the baseball field. And then when the athletes are done with their sporting event, we're there doing all of the treatment for the rehab that they need to do or the injuries that happened. And then oftentimes we'll be there during the day too for drop-in hours. So we'll be in our clinic. We run athletic training rooms or clinics, and the athletes, if they have time off in their school schedules, they can come see us. So my vision was, if I am going to work 70 hours a week, and I'm never going to see my kids, and I'm going to do that for $50,000 to $55,000 a year, or I'm going to be at a hospital doing similar hours. What if I could go into business for myself and I could own my own clinic and I could do this differently?
100%.
One of the papers that I wrote that in my PhD that really struck a nerve with some of the leaders in the industry was I wrote a paper suggesting that we cut out high schools and colleges as the people who pay us for our salary, because no other healthcare provider gets a salary. They get paid by insurance or they get paid for it out of pocket.
100%.
So that got me thinking, can I build an athletic training room, an athletic training clinic that runs off of cash pay or off of insurance? Now, right now, Utah doesn't allow me to build insurance quite yet. And that's something that we're trying to get nationally for athletic trainers across the country, is the ability to build insurance. So I'm purely cash pay. And I'm one of a few athletic trainers in the country who's building a legit athletic training room off of cash pay people. And I think, who needs me if I'm not at a high school and I'm not at a college? Well, CrossFit guys are going to need me. MMA guys are going to need me.
Yep.
I've got bodybuilders. I'm working out of a bodybuilding gym right now, a weightlifting gym. I've got power lifters. Anything like that. And then I even get athletic training clients from high schools. They're like, hey, my athletic trainer's really busy. Or my athletic trainer's not really that good. Can I come see you instead? Or I'll get parents that will start sending me their child now. And so that's our model, my model of what I'm trying to do. I'd like to be able to figure it out, get more athletic trainers around the country to figure it out, and be able to consult how we can now move the profession that direction.
Yeah. Why can't you get paid through insurance? The insurance just doesn't allow it? It's one of those.
Originally, this is a battle that happens between professions. So originally, we started at high schools and we had to have a team doctor oversee everything that we did. Until throughout the years, we've slowly become the experts in this field more than even the team doctor.
Sure.
So I have a team doctor, and oftentimes he'll defer to me about things that I know that he's like, I know I'm your team doctor, but I have no idea what to do, how you do it. And I need you to go handle this. And so we're starting to become this profession where we're entry-level masters now. I see it going to entry-level PhD if we can hang in there long enough financially with those of us making $55,000 a year. But we're following the route of physical therapy.
Gotcha.
And we're behind because, like I said, physical therapists started working in hospitals and clinics. We started working in high schools and colleges.
Yeah. So what do you think the biggest difference between a athletic trainer is and a physical therapist?
So we're very similar. We spent way more time in learning diagnosis on the spot. We don't have access to an MRI or an X-ray machine, and I have to make real-time decisions about whether I think that this ACL is torn or there is a concussion. And I have to know that right then and there and be able to send that kid hopefully safely back into the game. Plus, I have to handle a lot of emergency care. So if someone's not breathing, I'm the team leading everyone around me on how to keep them alive until the EMTs get there. So that's a big difference between us. They do have some training on diagnosing injuries, but a lot of their stuff comes from imaging. Okay. They handle all ages. They're working with geriatric old people. They're working with infants and toddlers and children that are much younger than us. And they're doing it in a sense of, this person may not have been athletic in the first place. So they have to be able to take someone from, I don't even know if I have muscle strength yet, and work them into where they even could be doing something athletic. And that's about where most PTs unfortunately stop. I know that they would like to take athletes a little bit further into elite performance, but they just don't have the resources to do it.
Sure.
If you're in a physical therapy office, you will see that they're limited in the types of weight and equipment that they have. It's not a weight room.
Right. No, not at
It's
all.
not a training facility.
Right.
And so a lot of times they'll get cleared from physical therapy, and my athletes will come to me and say, I still don't feel like everything's better. I can't go run on a football field. I can't slam dunk a basketball anymore. And so there's this big gap between you get cleared from physical therapy, but something still feels like it's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to bridge that gap into, now how do we take that person into, I can sprint on the track, I can jump on the court, I can run, I can tackle, I can cut, and I feel like I'm myself again and things are better. And that's where we really specialize in the types of rehabilitation we do that gets you ready for human performance again.
Yeah. If somebody wanted to start if someone out there is an athletic trainer like yourself, they've gone to school and they're making no money hardly at all for the amazing knowledge that they offer and what they can do, how much money do they need to start a business like you have?
I find this question really fascinating because a lot of times any business, you're going to be thinking, how much money do I have to be able to invest, or how much money do I need someone to invest in me? So athletic trainers are used to working on the poorest budget imaginable for what supplies we're allowed to order, what equipment we're allowed to have, if we even have a treatment table or not. The college that I was at, the athletic training room was built underneath metal bleachers without air conditioning.
Wow.
So that was our athletic training facility for a Division I university with hundreds of athletes. So we're very resourceful.
Yeah.
I think an athletic training person could start a business on very little, and I know that that's possible because that's what I did.
Yeah.
So I rented out a room of a gym. I had my treatment table. I had a storage closet. I started with a TENS unit. And because I was dry needling certified, I would offer sports massages to the gym people. And that wasn't ideally my main focus. I didn't go to massage school.
Yeah.
But it got people in the door. So we could have a conversation. I could be like, oh, your sciatic hurts and you came to see me for a massage.
Yeah.
Here's the real problem. And now we can start talking about physical therapy exercise. We can talk about dry needling.
Yeah.
We can talk about different modalities that we can use to help you. And so I started it with a treatment table, a storage closet, a few taping supplies, and a TENS unit. And that's how I started my business.
What do you think? If you had to estimate, what do you think you spent to get all that stuff?
I had a desk and I had a bookcase. So if I didn't even furnish my room, probably $800.
Wow. Under $1,000, you could start the business.
To start a business.
Wow. That's awesome.
And I take a lot of pride in the fact that I have not taken out any business loans to start the business.
Yeah, that's
I
awesome.
haven't had to. I was working as a single mom full time. I was in PhD school, and I had 2 part-time jobs on top of that to make sure that I had the income I needed to not go into debt to start the business.
That's so awesome. That's
So,
the way to do it.
when you say you have to earn work-life balance, yeah, that's 100% correct.
Yeah. 100%. And anybody who tells you otherwise doesn't they haven't owned a business. They don't know what they're talking about, because you 100% have to do that. So, man, that's cool that you can start this business for under $1,000. So let's talk about how much money do you think someone, if they've been in this business, let's say for 5 years, they're up and running, rocking and rolling, how much money could they pull in realistically just by themselves?
I think one of the illusions we have when we go into business is we leave working for someone else and we don't pay ourselves a salary, and we're not paying ourselves as an employee. So we now think maybe I made $100,000 this year from the business. By the time I pay all of my expenses and then look at what's left, did I pay myself a salary like I was an employee?
Most people don't.
And then was there any money left?
Yeah.
That's when your business is actually making money.
Yeah.
So let's define making money as, do I have anything left after I pay all my guys and I pay my salary to myself?
Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah.
So are we profitable? I think we're barely profitable, and it's been 2.5 years.
Okay. And then where do you see yourself going year over year? Like if you had to give a number with just Shay working this business, are you $500,000? Are you a couple 100,000? Like what can someone make from this type of business?
I think in 5 years, if you grind away, I also think it's about how you market yourself. And that's something that a lot of business owners don't factor in, is how much marketing is it going to take to get me where I need to be.
For sure.
I think that I could, as an athletic trainer, have several employees and be making a salary of over $100,000 for myself.
Yeah.
Which, if you're talking about an athletic trainer who's now making $50,000 to $55,000, you don't have anyone to come help you cover all of the sporting teams. You don't have anybody to help you when you're sick. And now you're working 30 hours a week. You have a team that's helping you. You've had to go into very little debt to start your business. And now you're making double that, and you're able to have a family and kids. I was never in this to make millions. I was in this to see my kids before they move out.
Yeah.
I'm in this to get time back, hopefully soon,
Yeah.
with them. I'm in this to not wonder how to pay my bills. I'm in this to know how to keep a marriage. You know?
Yeah.
So my number is a little more humbling, but my number is everything.
Yeah. And that's one thing that I want to talk about is success, right? And when you ask people, are you successful? Some people will think of money. Some people think of time, right? And some people will think of what do they have, right? And so success is such an interesting word, because that person over there that has X amount of money, they could not be successful because they want what you have, which is time with your family. Right? And so being successful is such an awesome word that we need to ask people. And then after they answer, yes, I am successful, one of the best follow-up questions with that is, why are you successful? Because it's interesting to hear people's perspectives on why they think they're successful, right? The other thing that I wanted to talk about too is that your understanding of a business, right? And the way you spoke about how, am I paying myself? And just because I have a ton of money in the bank account doesn't mean it's all mine. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that new entrepreneurs make, is they start this business, they're making money, and then all of a sudden they get bills. And they have to pay $10,000 here, they have to pay $5,000 here, they have to pay rent, they have to do all this. And all of a sudden your $30,000 that's sitting in a bank account is $2,000. Right? But what you did is you went to Vegas and you bought a shiny watch, you went gambling, you did all this stuff because you thought you were living large with 30 grand in the bank, only to come home with a bunch of bills sitting on the desk. And one of the things that was when I did my first business, which was a gym. I've told this in a YouTube video before, but I thought I was living large. I was making good money, right? $8,000 a month. I was just killing it. I was like, yes, I made it. This is cool, right? All of a sudden the AC went out in my gym. Oh, I've never went from living large to being broke so quickly in my life because I had to replace the AC, right? And so as a business owner, and as you are a smart business owner, you need to be able to separate, what does my business need in order to run, and what can I pay myself, right? And you need to be able to separate those two, because if you can't, you're going to fail really quickly and you're going to be broke.
And
right?
I would even add a third to that of, what do I need to have in savings that's untouched in case the AC goes out?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, for sure.
So your emergency fund, we've got a $18,000 piece of equipment right now that's not running well. And so that's like one of those, running a business is so unpredictable month to month.
Yeah.
One month is amazing, another month is feast or famine.
Yes. 100%. And isn't that the funnest part, though?
I don't know if I'd call that fun.
I asked that because I know
asked why I don't want to be in business.
Because we think so differently, right? Like, I love waking up and seeing 50 different problems presented to me, right? And then other people wake up and they don't like that. And you know what's awesome about that, though, is people who enjoy that, they might be living life wrong. People who don't enjoy that, you're going to figure out how to not have all those problems. And so there's awesome pros and cons to every business owner, and yours just so unique because you never wanted to be a business owner. And so your business is going to be so unique and awesome and special to you and how you do things, and I think you're going to be able to teach a ton of people how to do business in a way that I would never be able to teach them because we don't think alike, right?
Right.
What's one of the things when you started your business that you never thought you would need to know, or you were just like, what in the world? Like, I never thought I would have to deal with this.
Social media.
Oh, okay.
I don't like being in front of a camera. If I am in a classroom as a college professor, which I've done several times now, and I've got 300 students and I'm talking to human faces, I love it. I love to teach my students. I can usually break down the hardest concepts for them, and I can get a 5-year-old to understand what we're doing or a 20-year-old. But if I get in front of a camera, I get all sorts of awkward. I don't like it. I don't like the time it takes to market myself on social media. And I spend probably 3 or 4 hours trying to make a single reel for my Instagram page till it finally looks professional.
Are you a perfectionist?
Probably. I think marketing and understanding technology and understanding that no matter how good your business idea is, you've got to be able to play that game.
Yeah, you do. No matter what you do, if you cannot get clients in the door, your business will fail, right? And so with your hatred towards social media, how did you get your first client in the door?
I'm trying to remember. So we'd have to back up to answer that question. I was working my business part-time while I was working at the hospital.
Awesome.
And while I was going to school, which that's a whole other challenge in and of itself that we should come back to. But I started having, I got to think about if I should legally share what I'm about to share.
We'll cut it out if you can't, but we'll figure it out.
I started working, doing massages for some guys at their poker night.
Okay.
And they were friends of mine. I had taken my dream business of what I wanted to build and to grow, and I had pitched it to investors. And a buddy of mine did the bid for me for all of the build out of the facility that I was pitching because he's a contractor. So in getting him to build the facility for me and us saying how many rooms does it need to have, what kind of treatments, how many employees, yada, yada, yada. He's like, I know that massage really isn't what you do, but why don't you come try working massage at my poker game that runs every Friday night? We usually have someone do table massages on us while we play poker. And that is actually how I started my business and got my very first clients, was going to work on poker players at guys' night for massage, which is not what I highly specialize in. It's just one of my tools. And then teaching them the same thing I taught you. Hey, the reason your neck hurts is not really that you need a massage. It's that you have like a herniation right here, and maybe we should try these exercises. So before you know it, I had poker players standing up and doing like rehab exercises, and then they'd come see me at work, or I'd come to their house, and that's actually how my business started.
Wow, that is cool. So that's one of the things that I love about how the universe works. That's what I'm going to call it, right? Is us as humans, when we dream big dreams, right? And we know we're going someplace and we have faith in ourselves and we're willing to take the risk. Things happen along the way that you would never think are going to happen. Did you ever think your first clients was going to be some poker night with a bunch of dudes playing poker?
No.
No. And so that's the beauty about life is, and one of the lessons that I want to teach from this is that if you have a dream, let's say your dream is to make $500,000 a year, okay? The universe is going to present something in front of you, and most people go, I don't want to do that. That's not what I had in mind, right? You just need to know the goal and the dream and let the universe tell you how you're going to get there, right? And so most people, I guarantee you, would have said, I am not going to some weird poker night with a bunch of dudes playing cards and rubbing their necks, right? But you said, you know what? Yeah, I am going to do that because I need clients, and that's how you got them. And so that was one of the things that is amazing in life and about the universe is things present themselves in so different ways, such different ways, right? And we need to be able to just take that and grasp it and run with it, right?
That's actually, as we had chatted about what we wanted to discuss today, I have something that comes right into what you're saying. So you asked me, what are some of the things you had to do in order to get brave enough to start your business?
Yeah.
And what were some of those things that made you take that leap? I've thought a lot about, why do people go into business? We talk about the 1%ers or the 5%ers. What makes you a 1%er or a 5%er that's different from the other 99 or the other 95?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure there's a lot of things we could come up with, but one that stands out to me is I would see problems with my idea to go into business. And instead of giving up on the idea of the business as soon as I ran into a problem, I would do something that I call shelving it.
Okay.
And here's what shelving it is. Instead of giving up on whatever it is that the dream is, you put the problem up on a shelf in the back of your brain and you say, I'm going to come back to you later. It doesn't mean that the business was a bad idea. Doesn't mean that you're just not lucky enough to get good ideas. Doesn't mean that just because someone else is already doing what you wanted to do that now all of it's out the window.
Right.
It's called shelving it. And what that does is it opens up this magical universe working for you where you have an awareness of what the problem is, and you're now still going and working every day just as hard, not giving up and trying to make things happen. And now you're aware of what to look for, whether it's an opportunity or it's people or it's someone that comes into your life that wouldn't have been recognizable if you didn't know what the problem was. And I've seen it so many times where I know that I'm on the right path for the business because the universe or karma or God or whatever you want to call it brings me some sort of knowledge I didn't have, some opportunity that fits just right, or some person who is kind enough to mentor me and give me the information that I was looking for.
Right.
And that's what shelving it is. You have to be able to not give up when there are problems, but you have to shelf it.
I love it. I love it. I'm gonna store that because I believe I shelve, right? That I believe I already do that. I just don't call it that. And it's one of those things where so many people, when they're starting a business or they're starting anything new in life, you're gonna run into speed bumps. You're gonna run into a wall, like you were saying, right? And what most people do is they go, I guess this is it.
I guess it was a bad idea.
Yeah, I wasn't cut out for this. This isn't what I was supposed to do. But if you take what Dr. Brady said, and you put it on the shelf, and you just go to work, keep doing your thing, keep doing the grind, it will eventually get worked out.
I noticed too that the more I try to just be a good person with positive energy, so I actually don't believe in the concept of manifestation.
Okay.
I don't think that we can just sit here and in some aligned spiritual higher state hope and wish for things and that they'll magically appear. The closest thing I have to what I think manifestation is is shelf the problem, work hard, put forth good energy, and be aware, waiting and watching for opportunity to present itself.
Yeah, I agree with you. I actually love manifestation, visualization, and all that stuff. With what you said, though, I 100% agree that you can't just sit in a room and meditate and wealth falls into your lap, right? You have to be able to go out and get that. But there's an important part that people usually miss, and it is part of manifestation. It is part of shelving, right? When you shelf or you manifest something or you visualize something, what you're doing is you're turning on this part in your brain called the reticular activating system, or your RAS, right? And this is a radar that your brain is always scanning for stuff at any moment. It's scanning for dangerous stuff. It's scanning for people that you like. It's scanning for friends. It's scanning for enemies, whatever it may be, right? When you put something on the shelf, a problem or a goal or whatever it may be, your brain now has that on its radar. And the reticular activating system is now scanning for those moments in your life that could solve that problem or could help you achieve your goal. So just like you said, those people show up in your life, a mentor, someone that's kind enough to lend you a hand, someone that gave you some advice, right? Here's the thing. Those people have been there before. You just didn't recognize that that was the answer that you needed before that because you weren't shelving it or you weren't manifesting it, right? And so that's all that is. A lot of people like to think of this manifestation as a visualization as some wizardry that's happening in their life and it's just poof, that's what's going on. The scientific stuff that's going on behind it is your brain is just now aware of an opportunity that it needs to grab at for you to be able to take advantage of it.
Sure, and I think there's those people out there too that are the glass half empty type person.
Yes.
And so when there is that problem, woe is me, guess that wasn't a good idea, someone's already doing it, and they get rid of the dream entirely and they go on to something else to where they don't have this sitting subconsciously in the background. Right. They're not out there looking for a miracle to happen, so to speak.
Right.
But then they wonder, why don't I ever have anything good happen for me?
Yeah.
Why am I not lucky? And I do think to that point, we do control our own destiny and we do control our own luck by subconsciously putting it up here instead of throwing it out in the first place. Yep. We're not giving up on the problems, we're shelving them. But now our brain is out there scanning with, what did you call it? The RAS?
Yeah, reticular activated system.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, there's a golfer. I don't know if it's Arnold Palmer or if it's some other golfer, but he has a famous quote. And it says, "It's funny how the harder I work, the luckier I get."
Interesting. I love it.
And it's one of those things that you just said is I'm around people all the time. And when I'm around someone that's negative, I just can't be around them for very long.
No.
Because you can feel them just suck the energy out of the room. You know what I mean? And those people, if they would just flip that switch in their head and go, they wake up in the morning and they go, I wonder what's happened today that's good. I wonder what's going to happen in my life today that's going to get me closer to my goal. Instead of waking up and going, F my life, today sucks. Oh, I got a flat tire. I'll probably freaking get called off from work and get fired. Yeah, you are going to, because that's what you're manifesting in your life. Instead of them shelving things like goals and problems that they want to solve in their business like you're doing and like I'm doing, they're freaking shelving stuff of what else could happen in my life that sucks, right? And I've seen it to where you literally see people and you go, how in the world can that much bad stuff happen to one person? You know what I mean? And
then on the flip, they're saying, how in the world can that much good stuff happen to her?
They're saying that, right? And so we have to live in this world of gratitude, right? Gratitude can fix so much. And we have to be in this state of mind of what good is going to come from this day, right? And if something bad happens, you simply go, wow, that kind of sucked. Who cares? Moving on. You know what I mean? Because bad stuff is always going to happen. You're always going to have problems in your business, but we need to see those as opportunities of learning, opportunities of getting better and stronger.
Sure.
Let's go back really quickly to, you said you were starting your business, working your job. What else were you doing? You had like 5 different things going on there.
Oh my goodness.
At one point.
So I think hard times will build us into who we need to become, because I had just left a pretty abusive relationship.
Hmm.
My kids and I had moved into a 2-bedroom apartment that was terrible.
Hmm.
Like, we had spiders everywhere, things were broken all over in it. My kids are getting sick living there.
Hmm.
I was a single mom. I had just started PhD school for the second time. That's a story in and of itself. I was working full time at a hospital and I had 2 part time jobs.
Wow.
And all of that created so many people in my life and so many opportunities in my life to guide me to the business. And it all started, like I said, with a bunch of poker players,
Yeah.
which is really cool.
Yeah.
And I had another friend believe in me and be like, "Hey, have you ever thought of doing this at a gym?" And
Hmm.
like, just little people coming into my life. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm running this little side business thinking, one day, wouldn't it be so cool if I could run my own business? And always having that in the back of my mind up on the shelf, so that I knew when to take opportunities that came. And slowly this path started guiding me towards a gym reaching out to me and saying, "We want you to come do this full time with us." Because of the connections I'd made and the people I had made, I had been referred to them for my little side business that was going on over here.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the problem. You cannot build 2 people's dreams at once. If you have 1 foot in one person's dream and 1 foot in your dream. And so with me spending 50 or 60 hours at the hospital, there's no way I could just seamlessly step into a full-time athletic training room business. It was always going to stay this part-time thing over here. And it was never going to be what I wanted it to be.
Sure.
Until you get to your burn the ships phase. You have to be strategic about this phase. You can't go into it too early or too soon, but you do have to get to a point where I'm giving too much time to someone else and it's not where I need it to be successful in the business. I've got to cut off my safety net. I've got to cut off the job that pays the bills, trusting that I've done enough work over here to go all in. And it's not when the part-time business is making enough money, because it won't be. You've been giving 60 hours to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And so I call this the burn the ships phase, where you've got to be able to trust that if this is ever going to be my dream, and if it's ever going to go live, or if it's ever going to go full time, and if it's ever becoming something really big and impressive, I've got to burn the ships somewhere else and I've got to jump all in. And I've just got to trust that I've done enough work and I've set the grounds to be ready for it.
Yeah. You know what's really interesting is you just taught me something there, because I am not, when I teach other entrepreneurs that want to start their business, I'm not the type of person that says to burn the ships and go all in on your part-time, because I think it's incredibly risky, right? The thing that you taught me, though, is that when you're working 60, 70 hours a week, there's no other way. That's your week right there. 60, 70 hours a week is insane, right? You don't have any time for anything other than working, eating, and sleeping, right? And so then if people are in that position to where they are, let's break it down a little bit more, right? So they're in this, because I want to learn this too. If you're working 67 hours a week, right? And you're trying to start a side hustle, which you were doing, right? You were doing this part-time to where you were massaging the poker players and getting some cash there. What are some certain things that you need to look out for, in your opinion, to where you go? Because you did say strategically you burn the boats, right? Which I love, because most people just go, it's time, burn the boats, I'm going to, and here we go, right? I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. But the word strategically, I'm really intrigued by that. So what is strategically burning the boats?
Strategically burning the boats is, have you built a social media presence to start your marketing?
Okay.
Do you have several clients that are now recommending you to other people?
Okay.
It's, if I do burn the boats, do I have a month or 2 of savings that I can survive?
Yes.
I mean, they're super common things you would think of, but you also have to look at who's my competition.
Mm.
Is there a need for this? Is there an opportunity here? Or am I rushing it before there was an opportunity? The gym approached me. They had headhunted me based on referrals. And so knowing that at least I had an opportunity to go to when I burned the boats.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. And I love all those points that you're putting out there. And that's, in a nutshell, that's strategically burning the boats. And I love it, right? Don't just quit your 9 to 5, your W-2, and burn the boats and hope something works with your business, right? This is not a place of hope. Building a business and doing hope, we can talk about manifestation, we can talk about faith, we can talk about all that stuff, but we need to make sure that our ducks are in order for us to start this business when we burn the boats, because it's your livelihood. And it wasn't just you, it was your children.
Yeah.
Because you were a single mom.
Yeah.
So you needed this to work. And that's why the word strategically burning the boats is so awesome to me. I love that. 100% I love that. And that is one of those things where the gym reached out to you. People are reaching out to you. You're not going after them. They're coming for you now. And that is a really good sign of, hey, I'm doing something right, to where not only am I retaining my clients I'm working on, but I'm doing such a good job that they are telling other people, like I'm telling the world, how good you are at helping people with their back problems and everything like that. So wonderful. I loved it. Let's end this up. We'll wrap it up with some mindset stuff. What type of mindset do you need to be in to strategically burn the boats? Because that's a big thing, right? When you take that step and you're burning the boats and you're hopping into this world of, it's on me now as a business owner, what did you do to mentally prepare for that?
I always had it in the back of my mind of, if I had my dream job, what would it look like? That's a question I ask my college students all the time. So they're college students, they're in an athletic training degree, and they've already made their minds they want to be athletic trainers. And I take them clear back to, is this really what you want to do? And if you could define your dream job, and it didn't come down to how much money you have or don't have, it doesn't come down to where you live in the world, it doesn't come down to if you're a male or a female, it doesn't come down to what your parents think you should do, or if the job even doesn't exist in the first place. You have to know, what would my dream job look like? And you have to literally be grabbing puzzle pieces all along your life, even if you don't even know if that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because I had built the scaffolding for this company without even knowing that I had done it.
Yep.
It's like I can look back at, I took this extra education class once that taught me how to dry needle, and I went and I networked with this person once and I didn't even know if it was going to go anywhere. And I met this person once that was like, hey, if you ever need me to build something for you in terms of a facility, let me know. You know, you have to know what the dream is and be building it long before the boat ever needs to be burned.
Yeah. I 100% agree with that. And it's one of those things where if you're working hard, you know where you're going to pick up things along the way without even knowing it, just like you said. And then you're going to look back 5-10 years back after you've owned your business for a few years and you go, that's why I did that, right? That's why I was in that position. I mean, there was a time in my life where I worked on a calf ranch in Idaho, right? And I had no vision other than I knew I wanted to build a business, right? Turns out that in order to start my logistics company, I needed personnel experience. And on that ranch, I was the personnel manager for about 120 people. And so that's what was going on for that 5 years, is God was training me to be a personnel manager so I could be a good leader, a good boss for when I had 200 plus employees at my logistics company, right? And so life is full of surprises. What we need to do is get out of its way, trust the process, and be positive, so that we can enjoy and reap the benefits of those things that are put inside our life.
Sure.
Awesome.
Let me tell you, back to burning the boats, I want to share one thing with you.
Okay.
So I had taken over the space. I wasn't ready to announce yet that I was taking patients or clients at my building yet. We were working on the marketing and everything. So I was sitting at my desk. I had spent 16 or 18 hours per day, 2 or 3 weeks into burning the ships. Okay. I had the most amazing moment where I sat at my desk and I got teary and I realized that 100% of those hours were mine. 100% of those hours went to my dream. 60 or 70 of them didn't go to a huge hospital with millions of employees who didn't even know who I was. And it was a really cool moment to realize, am I working just as much? Yes. Am I working perhaps more? Yes. But did 100% of my hours go to myself? Were 100% of those hours mine? And that was a very powerful moment for me.
I'm sure it was. Now that you're in the business world and you do own your own business, I know you never wanted to be a business owner, but are you glad that you are one now?
I'm absolutely glad that I am one now. And the hard part about it is there's no going back. I don't know if I can go back to what I was doing. I think
No.
all the time about, hospitals really do try to do right by their workers, but we're a very understaffed, overworked environment as well, just like athletic trainers.
Yep.
And I sure have a lot more freedom to help people the right way and the best way and actually get them better than I actually did at a hospital. So my reward now is a lot greater as well. I now can say, sure, do I have to work 16 hours on a Saturday sometimes? But can I do some of it at 6 a.m. so that I can go to my kids' 12 p.m. soccer game?
Make your own schedule.
I make my own schedule now.
Yeah, there's so many benefits of owning your own business, and what you stated, that powerful moment when you realized that every hour that went into your day, you were building your dream, not somebody else's, right? What's one thing to leave the audience with? If there's an athletic trainer out there that wants to own a business just like you do, what's one thing that you would tell them?
I'd tell them that you're going to have moments where you doubt yourself every single day over and over and over again. And if you think that that makes you not fit to run a business, you just don't understand the minds of all of the rest of us that are facing that. You have to be able to look inside your own head and say, that fear is irrational. It's there, but that doesn't mean that you're not fit to go start a business. And you have to be able to talk yourself off of the ledge every single day, several times a day.
Yep.
And the rest of us are all feeling the same. There's not this superpower brain and superpower personality that doesn't feel like they're not scared and isn't doubting themselves the entire time. I'll finish with this. There's a wonderful children's book that every person should read, and it's called Jonathan James and the What If Monster.
Okay.
And the first half of the book is this little boy saying, what if I go talk to this girl and she doesn't like me? What if I taste this food and it's yucky? What if I jump off of the diving board and I get hurt? And it's this little monster that's sitting there, the what if monster. And he says, hold on a minute, you. Who do you think you are? What if I find my very best friend because I go talk to this girl? What if I jump off of the diving board and I do a really cool trick? And what if I find out that this is my new favorite food to eat? And I think about that children's book a lot when we've got the what if monsters in our head telling us you're going to fail, you're not smart enough, someone else is doing your idea, you had something fall through that wasn't supposed to.
I love that so much. If people are wanting to find you on social media or come to your clinic so they can get worked on or learn from you, how do they find you?
So I'm on Instagram most right now, and that's The Body Mechanic Utah. I also have a website, thebodymechanic.utah.com. And both of those, you can reach out to me. My phone number is on there, so I'll advertise it to the world. But it's 801-884-8891. We do injury diagnosis. We do rehabilitation. We do massage and body work. We dry needle. We do personal training. We do sports performance and skills enhancement, and we're just trying to be a human performance and recovery all in one shop for everyone.
Yeah, and you're doing a good job at it. I can personally vouch for her and her company, and they do an amazing job with everything. And so thank you for coming on to the podcast.
Yeah, thank you.
You are welcome. And if anybody is out there is wanting to start their own business, go on to myelevatedmindset.com to where you can download a free 7-step checklist to where you can have a guide and a list of what you can do to start your first business. It's what I use to start all of my successful businesses. If you already have a business and you just want to scale that business or take it to new heights, click on the coaching tab on that same website, myelevatedmindset.com, to where you can fill out a Google sheet, tell me about your business, what you're after, what your goals are, and I will set up a call with you. We can text, we can chat, we can do whatever you need to do, and I'd be more than happy to help you. Hope to see you there. Thanks for tuning in.